Yeah, I mean, full focus is on Montreal. I mean, that's the first piece, and I think that we have to make sure that we're not looking to Saturday yet. We have to see how we come out of Wednesday's match, and go for 3 points. I mean, that's the mentality that we want to have in every match, clearly. But when you start thinking about Saturday, you can't say your full focus is on accomplishing that in our next match. And what I was saying to you is how I feel about it prior to us jumping on this press conference is this is what all the players want. This is what we all want as a staff, is to have matches like this back to back, particularly when we come off a match against Chicago in which we didn't feel like was our best effort in the second half.
You go from Inter Miami and New York, losing those two matches. You get a tie with Chicago. Just where you guys are at right now, headspace wise, as you try to get back in the win column.
Yeah, I mean, we're not that far away from Atlanta, at Atlanta. I mean, that's not that was 10 days ago, 14 days ago, something like that. So that was one of our best performances of the year. And prior to that match, I think we were in a good way versus Seattle, versus Philly, even though Philly, we wanted to see that match out completely. And then Miami was some of our best stuff as well. We just didn't see the game out late. But that's the narrative that is a reality of ours that we're trying to combat and make better, to see out matches and not come away with almost 3 points. We need to start coming away with 3 points in 90-minute performances.
You played a team like Chicago close to the bottom of the table. You have Montreal, who's also close to the bottom of the table. Do you guys look at that when you're facing a team, how they're playing, or is it more of just like maybe the personnel that they have?
It's absolutely more of their strengths and where we think that we have some advantages. It's not so much so where they are in the table. We have awareness of that. I mean, we're completely aware of the standings, but I don't think that that's at this stage, even though we're almost halfway through the season. I don't think that that's a tremendous indicator. I think anyone can beat any other team on any night. So we have to be ready for Montreal, regardless of where they are in the table. They're looking for 3 points as well.
A guy like Jackson Hopkins, he's just so young, but he's gotten a lot of minutes this year. Last year he was loaned down to Loudoun United. What have you seen from him growth-wise? And since this is your first year with him and your first year here with DC United, what have you seen from him? Only 19 years old, but he's feels like he's kind of taking a step in the right direction this season.
He absolutely has taken a step in the right direction. I'm really proud of where Jackson is. There's a learning curve there. There's still some things that have to be fine tuned. But when you're 19 years old, going on 20, the responsibility in which we're putting in his position in the field is one that's a lot, and it's not easy for someone who's older and that's a veteran to handle some of the responsibilities that we're putting on his plate. But Jackson can handle that, and we have confidence in him. And that's not only going to benefit us in the short term, but it's going to benefit us in the long term as a club. And you can put Ted Cudipetro in that category, Christian Fletcher, Matty Peltola. We have a number of young players that are Jacob Merle, accumulating minutes this year, and that's going to be valuable for us in 2024 and beyond.
Matt, we can take some from Zoom.
We'll start off with Bruce Murray. Hey, Troy, how are you?
Hey, Bruce, good to see you.
Good to see you, too. What, I would think that everyone on the staff would be rooting for a corner kick opportunity or a set piece, because is there anybody better in the league, than our guys at the back, along with Christian? Can you talk a little bit about how our set piece, it's a real weapon, and there's nobody in the league that has that many good headers to the ball that I've seen.
Yeah, we're playing against an opponent that I think in Montreal that we have to be aware of on set pieces. They're quite good themselves, but I agree with you. I think our organization in this phase of play is something that we put a lot of time into. Zach Prince is he does a lot for me as a head coach, allowing me to look into a lot of different areas. But he takes a lot of the responsibility in our match plan. He takes a lot of the responsibility in set pieces, and Cody Mizell helps him out in that phase of play. And so you see that we have good service from Matty Click and Pedro Santos. That's a big part of it. But then we have targets, like you said, that we can take advantage of in a lot of different ways. And I think that we're first or second in the league in expected goals from set pieces this year. So that is a weapon of ours, and it's something that we're going to continue to highlight.
Troy, you've seen Montreal, obviously, your time with Red Bull, but also earlier in the season. What are the keys to Montreal this spring?
Yeah, I think the experience that I have with them in the past isn't maybe as relative as what I've seen in the first match against them. And since they have a new coach and a new staff and a number of new players, I think that experience this year, whenever we played earlier in the season, is more relevant. And you see a team that, regardless of where they are in the standings, they have a clear identity. Whenever they're in their identity and are able to control the match, particularly with their passing, I think they're as good as anyone in the league. And they create chances every single match, no matter what the result is. They create chances from their build-ups. So if we're not online, if we have the behavior that we had in the second half versus Chicago, then they're a team that can absolutely expose those weaknesses that you present whenever you're not in your way defensively. So I have a lot of respect for them, and I think that it's going to be a tough match for us.
Good. Thanks and good luck.
Thank you, man.
Up next, we'll go to Byron Kurt.
Hey, Coach, thank you very much for your time. Can you speak to, as we've kind of probably talked about a lot this year, is getting others involved and how important it was for McVay to get a goal and getting your back line and your middies, as you said, having them come up and be a part of the offense as well?
Yeah, I appreciate that. And, speaking of Chris McVay, it's his first goal for DC United, and he sustained an injury that is going to keep him out probably 6 to 8 weeks, I would say. So we're thinking about Chris. He had a very good performance in that first half, but hopefully he'll recover quickly from this injury. I think that what you mentioned is something that we're aware of. So we have Christian Benteke, who's on 11 goals, and he's such a prominent figure for us. But now I think with Chris scoring, I think we have 11 players on 1 goal, and we'd love to see someone step up and start to accumulate a few more goals as a second leading goal scorer behind Christian. But I think that speaks to the quality and some of our depth and abilities to score and our ways of scoring goals. So set pieces we've talked about. And you're going to continue to see guys get opportunities in match to add to that total. So that's something that we recognize is going to help us see out, 90-minute performances and see out 3-point performances as well.
And you can educate me a little bit here, but 24 crosses for DC United in that match against Chicago. How important is it, Coach, to, as you said, flip the field, even the sides of fields, whether to try to keep the defense honest?
I like us being in crossing situations because, again, that lends to our attacking players in terms of Christian Benteke, Jacob Merle, Jared Stroud, Aaron Herrera. All these guys get in the box. Christian Dahome, they get in the box. Ted Kudapetro. And we look to cross in different ways. It's not always wide crosses that look like big crosses coming into the box. I think we get inside the box often and have pullbacks, these types of moments. But ultimately, it's not necessarily the quantity of crosses that I'm concerned about. It's absolutely the quality. And if in Chicago, I thought that we were crossing just to cross, and that's something that we have to be a little bit more creative with.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Troy. That's all.
All right.
Just have one more
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, Coach, I saw you out there kind of, messing around with the guys as well. Is that something you always do, or is that just a way to kind of get the guys to reset and have a little fun?
Yeah, when we have 3 matches in a week, obviously the workload for them has to be tailored to that. So I think what you saw probably is a couple coaches jumping in because our numbers are a little bit low, and yeah, I think that lightens the mood. I mean, I don't see myself as someone that's going to raise the level by any means. So I think it's more for mood and enjoyment. And I have to tell you, I also love to play 5v2. I think as any coach in the world does.